Well, hello, everyone. It's Wesley Smith with Tree Service Marketing Profits Podcast. We got another episode today. Very special guest who provides a lot of value to the tree service industry. So we're excited to have him on today. If you're watching this from YouTube, go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel. It's easy. Just press the button. We put out all kind of tree service marketing content. If you're on the podcast, like the podcast or subscribe to it on the player of your choice. And we'll get right into it today. We've got Sean, AKA Red Beard with Tree Savages on the line. Sean, how you doing today, man?
Doing good, Wesley. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, appreciate you sharing your insights and the stuff that you actually provide for the tree service industry. So we do full on out marketing and all of that stuff for our tree service clients, but you got a really cool angle and a product, kind of a service that you provide to the tree service space and the tree service contractors that you work with. So I really liked it. I saw it. I thought it was like really cool material because a lot of people, I think, kind of struggle with putting together their sales material, their leave behinds, and how to price their work. So you got some really good stuff. I guess what we'll do is we'll get started with, kind of what is your background, maybe where you're located, how did you get in the tree service business, and kind of what you're doing today.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm an entrepreneur since forever, since, I don't know, 14 years old. I did snow removal in high school for the neighbors, used my dad's four-wheeler and had a few contracts that kept me busy, and then went to school for diesel technology and took that out to the oil field, ran my own service truck out there for 4 years, fixing semi trucks. So, definitely learned a lot of things about, running a business when you're turning wrenches in the oil field. That was a crash course on life for sure. And so I ended up coming home and I got a contract with Firewise here in northern Minnesota doing fire mitigation, and got locked into a pretty decent contract there for a while. And, had no idea what my base expenses were, had no idea what my production levels were. I was just ambitious and, ready to get back to work. And so I took on a whole chunk of work and just kind of suffered through it. And halfway through it, I'm kind of starting to supplement it with residential work and hazard tree removal. And I realized like how much more money there is in hazard tree removal as opposed to just like, bulk balsam fir reductions. And so I took a job one off season sales position and learned a whole bunch of sales resources and sales training from this company and took it back into my business. And so started using contracts, getting contracts signed on every single deal, which, I just noticed that the tree industry doesn't necessarily do that all the time. It's, it's probably like 60 or 70% of guys are still doing handshake deals. And there's a ton of guys that are making a ton of money doing handshake deals. And so, hey, if that's what works for them, great. But, I put together all the industry terms and conditions. So, you can read it to your customer and they know what it's like working with you. And so then I started helping out some tree companies by offering my templates to them, and that went well. And, then I started working on a way to price tree work. So that way, I had a formula, base cost and profit margin and all that stuff. And I knew how to price work, but I still wanted something that was a little more concrete because price and tree work's kind of arbitrary,
Sure.
So built out a pricing calculator for tree work and been helping tree service businesses get their pricing straight for about a year now. And it's been going really well. So
Awesome. That's awesome, man. A couple of things you shared there that I thought was really good. When you first start out doing any kind of contracting work, it's tough to kind of figure out your cost, your expenses, and what you should charge. But what you did was you were just hustling, right? You were getting the work done, you were moving forward, you were doing your business. And so there's a lot to be said about just getting it going. I think, a lot of people maybe try to get everything perfect before they get started, but you got to get going. It ain't got to be perfect, but you got to get it going, right? And once you get it going, you get that momentum going, then you can sort of figure things out as you go. And I think that kind of leads right into the services that you offer is how to price your tree work accurately based on your expenses, right? That's the only real intelligent way to build your business, I think. So it's like, if you know your expenses, you know your hard costs, you know your variable cost, and you know kind of what it costs you to do a job, well, from there, you can price it accordingly and become profitable so that you can grow your business. Because if you're not charging enough, you can't invest and grow in your business whatsoever. And sometimes it's literally a tweak of 15, 20, 30%. And people are still not going to even really balk at that if they really want you to do the work. So it's just a matter of knowing those numbers. But I thought that was good, man. You got to get going. Yeah, and it sounds like you've been a hustler since day one, which is
Oh
awesome.
yeah.
I like that.
Yep.
That's what I do. That's what I've been doing too since I was a kid. Just moving around, doing things like that. So you got into the tree business kind of from that first, you were working in the oil fields or whatever first, and you got into the tree business from there. And it was mainly residential type work that you were doing and the hazard stuff.
We were doing wildfire mitigation. So it
Okay.
was fuel reductions projects. I was under contract with the county. I had a really large chunk of work. You had to bid on multiple properties all on the same block, and you had to give a price per acre for the different densities of different properties along the same road. The bidding process was, totally crazy, and I had no idea how to
But you
bid.
got things that pop up. You're like, oh crap, I didn't foresee this coming. Right. Curveballs all the
Exactly.
time, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. And so, accessibility concerns change from property to property. Densities change from property to property. Hazards change from property to property. And you're expected to know all of these and manage all of these and give a single cost per acre for this entire 10-acre block or something like that. So, I was really just thrown right into the fire with it, and bit off a little bit more than I could chew, and kind of learned the hard way to appreciate the value of
Sure.
what goes into it.
Which leads right into the tree service business. So you got going with that. And so along the way, you were doing that kind of work. And you probably, when you first got started, probably weren't very accurate on your pricing, but you learned it and you got it figured out. And you figured out your expenses and then how to charge. Kind of every business owner goes through that, I think. I mean, we did too as a marketing agency to start. So everybody goes through it, and you kind of figure it out as you go. And so that kind of leads into the next question is like, so you got your services figured out, your pricing model, you had kind of your sales template, your leave behinds, your estimate tools and all that stuff. And so I guess you were like, wow, I could systematize this and really kind of help other tree service companies maybe just bridge that gap, give them what they need to go out and do these appointments and be more successful on that. So kind of tell us a little bit about what that entails with Tree Savages.
Well, I guess it just kind of started with spending time in the Facebook groups and seeing, what people were having problems with. And, it was just really simple. A lot of problems could have been solved by having, a very clear scope of work and a contract with industry specific terms and conditions. Like the dog poop issue, that one comes up all the time. We've got a pet waste clause in our contracts. It's a biohazard, it's unsafe work environment. And if the customer doesn't take care of that, there's, contractual repercussions to it, And so I just started in the tree groups, saw people, having the problems that could be solved with having just a solid contract. And then I saw them having problems bidding on work. And it's like, well, I had the formula in my head. I knew how to do it. I was like, how do I just get this onto a tool that we can distribute to people? And so that's what that process was, turning it into a tool that is useful. And right now it's getting to a point where it's pretty useful. So
yeah, I mean, because a handshake deal that goes back a long way, and a lot of people are in areas of the country where that might be pretty effective. And I mean, hey, we do some of that too. Sometimes we'll get clients or something, and maybe they don't sign our agreement, but they pay to get started. Or there's always little one-off scenarios, but you try to systematize it, make it where it's kind of a cookie cutter, where you know that you've got a firm deal, instead of just a handshake thing. And so
yeah.
I think putting that together, having everything laid out, is just really, I think that's highly valuable to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm in a pretty rural area here, and people aren't really used to, the type of business that I do here. And so I get a lot of compliments on it saying, hey, we appreciate the fact that you have a contract, that gives us confidence in you,
Sure.
We appreciate the fact that you've got a digital page, a form, all your videos are on there. Like, we know who we're working with before we even reached out to you. So like, I've had people mention that stuff. And so even if somebody's in a market where, maybe your clientele are a little bit behind on the technology thing, when you're pushing that technology and the, the professionalism of business in your area, they'll notice it, they'll appreciate it, and it'll help you distinguish yourself from the other people.
Yeah, it makes you look more professional. In essence, it is you marketing your business in a more professional way than most other guys. So
Yep.
I like that. I mean, it's when you have something on paper, it's probably got your logo on it, the different terms and conditions of your agreement, the price, which is upfront pricing, and I think one of the things you had mentioned before was that you usually require some sort of deposit from the client first before you get started.
Yep. So what's really great about the margin multiplier is that, you'll factor in all of your expenses. You'll factor in a predetermined profit margin based off of a percentage of price, not a percentage of cost. So you got the accurate profit margin markup, and then you'll be able to adjust for volume and liability. And once you get that price kind of adjusted, you'll be able to display it to the customer, and you'll be able to select whatever down payment you'd like, and it'll auto calculate that down payment for you. So you'll be able to display that information to the customer right off of your device. And it's instantaneous, and you'll explain to them what you're doing as you're doing it. Our prices are based off of a formula and a volume and liability adjustment. This is what we're looking at. This is what your down payment is. This is what our performance window is going to be.
I think that's great. I mean, it's kind of gives the customer the peace of mind too. There's some accountability here. You've got an agreement. We're on the up and up. This is what you can expect from our company, moving forward, instead of just that. So it's kind of like, so the treesavages.com is the website where people would go to find out more about that service that you would offer a tree company, right? Or a tree service contractor, on how to get their pricing right, their sales, their estimates, worksheets, and all that stuff put together.
Template contracts. We've got a free copy of the Sell More Handbook, just a really quick read that you can slide into your visor. You just got to pay shipping and handling on that. And then you can get a free trial of the margin multiplier. In 7 days, if you can't, figure out if that thing's going to make you money or not, then you should be able to make a pretty clear decision,
Awesome. So they can, when they first get enrolled into it, I guess they get the templates and the contracts that they can pull into their own business, but their logo is kind of like probably a plug and play with their logo, their business name, their location, all of that stuff. And so then they have their sales estimate forms to take to the client's site, but also on top of that, you can enter all the information in digitally that you're given on the estimate, and then send the client an email or a text with that information as well. Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah, that's correct. So, I guess there's a couple different products. You can get any of the products individually if you'd like, but if you sign up with Project Warp Speed, that's our coaching program. It includes everything. You'll get the calculator, you'll get the contract templates, subcontractor templates, invoices, the Sell More Handbook. You'll get everything. You'll get everything in digital form as well. And we'll coach you as far as, setting up your systems and what to do, how to do it. Which resources do you work with? There's a lot of different resources out there for a lot of different things that you're trying to do. And, I've got a lot of connections as far as, which companies and which people do what services. And so not everything is a one size fit all for tree companies. And sometimes, they've been running ads and they're ready to switch over to SEO, or they've been doing, they're already SEO, but maybe they want to get into video marketing, right? So I do some consulting on that. I have a lot of resources available there too. And it sounds like you and I are going to be resources for each other too. So
absolutely, man. I think what you provide is an awesome service, man. People need that out there, and there's a gap for sure. Because I've seen the same conversations that you're talking about in these groups, and how do I go and price my work? I've seen that question a million times. What do I leave behind at the client location? I've seen that 100 times. So there's all these little things that everybody needs in their business, and it sounds to me like, yeah, you can help the guy that's kind of on the move up, on the come up, kind of, trying to grow their business, get better at their sales processes, crunching their numbers, learning the business and all that stuff. But also, if a company is larger and maybe they got 2 or 3 sales guys already, this can really help streamline them, get, more professional leave behinds, more professional follow up with the client after doing the estimate. And then also just training these sales guys how to maybe sell more tree work and sell it more intelligently and price it effectively and all of that stuff, right? So you can probably work with a team of sales guys as well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the biggest thing that I've heard from, the larger companies, the owner operators, they love it because now they're hitting all winners, but the larger companies, the reason that they approach me, is just for consistency, right? Because their sales guys are either hitting winners or they're hitting losers, and they they need to balance that out, and so that's what it does, is it gives you more consistent bidding. And it gives somebody who might not be the operations guy, or, he might not do the tree work all the time. He might not appreciate that value quite like the guy who's doing it, gives him concrete data that he can work off of.
That's awesome, man. So if somebody goes to treesavages.com, I guess once they get there, they can browse around on the website. I looked at it too before our discussion today. And so they get there, there's a few different tabs. few different options they can click on and get maybe to get started with some sort of like the sales template, I think. And then from there, the margin multiplier to learn how to price their work. And those are separate options, I assume, or they both come together with a different package, maybe.
Yeah, if you click on Project Warp Speed,
Mhm.
that's everything included plus my one-on-one coaching. So
Awesome.
you know, if you sign up for Project Warp Speed, I do as much one-on-one coaching as you need. You know, if you ever got a tough customer or anything, and you need to tell them that you need to talk to the office or something, or you need to sit in the truck and run your numbers, do that. You know, jump on the phone with me. I'll make myself available, and we'll help you overcome any objections that you've got, or help you quantify any liabilities that you might be concerned about. So that's the type of thing that Project Warp Speed is there for.
Awesome. And so if somebody does move forward with Project Warp Speed, I guess they sign up, they get the templates via email or log in to your site or whatnot.
Yep.
And once they get all that, I'm guessing they consume some stuff to learn how to use it, like maybe some content or videos or whatever. And then when does like the consulting start? Is it like a week out or 2 weeks out when they first start talking to you about it?
I usually give everybody access to the website and let them consume as much material as they want to. And then, you know, I do my best to reach out to them and to try and set something up, and they get plenty of text messages and plenty of opportunity to set something up. So that's my first objective, is to get on the phone with them as soon as possible and make sure that they understand how everything works and answer any questions that they have. And, you know, once you have my phone number, you got my phone number, hit me up anytime.
That's cool, man. You know, to be an entrepreneur and to be a business owner, you kind of feel like you're out on an island by yourself a lot of times. So just having somebody to consult with about pricing the work, and if you run into this dilemma or that dilemma or this objection from the customer or whatever it may be, it's nice to know that you got somebody you can call that's kind of helped you out, you know, pricing the work, putting together your sales templates and all that stuff too. So I think what you're offering is very cool. It's a good value for the tree service industry. And I mean, people, if you're watching this video and you got, you know, you need sales templates and you need coaching and you need any of that stuff, I would recommend going to treesavages.shop, taking a look around and see if it's a good fit for you. Because if you don't have anything, you know, a lot of times when your business is first getting started, or maybe you're even 2 or 3, 4 years into it, heck, we get clients that are 6, 10, 15 years old already in their business, and they don't even have this stuff together yet. So, and they're doing well. Sometimes they're doing well, but they could be doing even better if they have more professional sales presentation, they know their numbers. Because as we talked about before, I mean, sometimes making a profit in your business is literally charging 15%, 20% more. But if you're doing $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 jobs, and you're doing weekly dozens of jobs, if you got a crew or 2 crews, that could equate to, you know, tens of thousands of more in revenue, and then more so profit at the end of the month just by pricing it accurately. So that's really where you get into the bucks, right? Let's say your business is $1 million company and you're doing 80 to 90,000 a month in revenue. Well, just doing the same amount of work and then bringing in 10,000 more, just because you're pricing each job 20% more or whatever, that's your profit for the month. And that way you can reinvest and get another crew the next year. So learning the numbers, I think, is super important. So it's awesome that you put that together for people.
That's another piece of equipment, you know, just that little 10%. That's the next new piece of equipment, whichever piece of equipment you were eyeing.
Yeah.
You know, that little bit of money that you're leaving on the table, that pays for that thing in cash.
Yeah. And the other thing is too, is a lot of people's thought process is, well, if I charge the lowest amount, at least I'll get that work. Well, here's the problem with that. You're going to do a lot more jobs for the same revenue and have a higher cost than if you would price it a little bit higher. You might not get those lowball cost shoppers, but you're doing less work. So you have less expenses for the same revenue, right?
Yep. One thing I always say is, you know, if you can't be the cheapest to market, there's no significant advantage of being second cheapest to market. So you might as well be the most expensive, because there's a significant advantage of being the most expensive.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, just pricing it accurately is going to help, you know, these business owners out there. So that's awesome. And we'll have to get you in the group, our Tree Service Marketing Secrets Facebook group too, because we got over 500, well, close to 500 members in there too. And I think this would provide a lot of value for them, although they may see the podcast episode too, but it'd be nice to do a video in there for them. We could do like a live or something like that and get people on. And I think it just helps out a lot of these business owners that don't have this stuff put together. So we kind of went over what to expect when they get your services. So it's pretty much immediate. They get the resources right when they sign up, and then they get access to you, you know, pending your schedule and their schedule and availability pretty soon thereafter. They can start talking about how to implement this in their business. And so let's do this. Why don't we get your contact information? And then if they want to give you a call, or if they want to just probably shoot you an email or go to your website, I would assume would be the best.
Yeah,
Um,
if you end up on Tree Savages and you go through all the content there and you end up on any one of the checkout pages and you're just like, I'm not sure if I'm ready to put my card in yet, my phone number is right on any one of the checkout pages. So that's how you can get my phone number. We've also got Savage
yeah,
gear and apparel.
I
Got
saw
the
some of those, really cool.
flag back here.
Mhm.
We've got some other cool designs on treesavages.shop. So, if you're already locked in on your contracts and your pricing and everything's good to go and business is good, but you're watching this and you want to support the cause, grab some apparel.
Yeah, the apparel's funny, man. You got some good slogans on there. So if they want to get the resources, it's treesavages.com. And there's several links on there, different things to click on for different options and things like that. And if you want some apparel, they got some really cool slogans and good stuff on there. It's treesavages.shop. And you probably have a link to that actually on the treesavages.com website, don't you?
There is, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So if they don't realize the second one, I'll have these links also in the description of this podcast episode on the podcast in the show notes and on the YouTube video description. But I think that's awesome. So if you guys need any kind of help with just putting together those sales templates, putting together your contracts, getting more organized with that stuff, learning how to price your services, and just getting access to somebody who's got real world experience in the tree service business, get with Sean and go to his website, treesavages.com, treesavages.shop for apparel. And I think you'll be surprised. I liked what I saw with it. I think it provides a good value in the industry. So thanks for letting us know about your services, man. We really appreciate you being on today. And
Wesley, I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, man, it was awesome. Enjoyed it. And so if anybody has any questions, let us know. We're going to wrap up this episode of Tree Service Marketing's Profits podcast. Again, if you're on the YouTube channel, like and subscribe to our channel. If you're on the podcast, listen to the audio only, just like it, subscribe to it on your favorite podcast player. And until next time, we will see you then. Thanks a lot, guys.